Hi there, everybody. I just wanted to kind of check in as in person as I could about this week's assignment, the midterm. So the midterm itself is due Wednesday, April 7th by midnight. So that's next Wednesday, giving you a little over a week to complete this. So the midterm is 30 points, and you want to be sure to complete it, and also know that this is going to be a big part of the lead up to your final project. So I'm going to go over the three parts of the midterm. Also know that the true midterm instructions are up on Carmen. Be sure that you read them and go through and make sure you hit all of the bullet points that I've placed on here, because that's the way that you can achieve maximum points. So going through these three parts of the midterm, I'll start with part one. So the big question here is, what is your chosen social movement? For the final project, I'll have you all create your own social movements. That's right, you make them up kind of as you go. And looking at present day circumstances and issues, I want you to think about things that you personally want to change and feel excited to change, and draw on what we've learned about best practices or worst practices from throughout history to inform your movement. So for this first part, I simply want you to state your social movement and give it a name. Then write a paragraph detailing the very basic who, what, when, where, and why of your movement. This is 3 points. It should be fairly short, simple, paragraph long, but just to kind of get you thinking about this movement. And again, if you change your mind and want to decide to work on something different for the final project, that's fine. But this is just to get you started thinking about your movement. For the part two, this is also going to relate to part one. It's an annotated bibliography. We're going to practice drawing from what you have learned and are learning in the class as far as tactics and methods that are successful or unsuccessful. So in planning this social movement, you're going to talk about how you want to organize, don't want to organize, what language you'll use, and think about examples, especially from this class. So you're going to use lectures, readings, and documentaries from this class, not outside sources at this point, but from this class, to really think about best practices for your movement. I want you to provide at least 3 citations. That means 3 different sources. And when you think about Zinn, the reader, you can pull 3 different sources, could mean 3 different writings. So 3 different authors from that. You can use the book 3 times if you want. But I also recommend that you use the book maybe twice and a different source. So try to use a variety of sources from the class. But provide at least 3 citations pulled from the class. Write at least 1 to 2 paragraphs for each citation in which you explore the source and kind of summarize what the source is telling you, and then draw comparisons between your movement and how you'll use this source to further your movement. So there are examples of how to write an annotated bibliography, which is essentially what this is, on the rubric for the midterm. So be sure you look at that. And there's examples too on Purdue OWL website, which I've linked to this as well. So you can double check, but basically I want you to just use Chicago style to cite your source at the beginning. So make sure you have the author's name, the title of the work, and the publisher, as well as the date published. So again, you can find this on the OWL Purdue site. And then below that you have your 1 to 2 paragraphs explaining why you're using the source. So finally, this part 3 is going to be a little different, and exploring different ways of thinking about history by looking at our present situation, which a lot of you have already been doing in these discussion posts. But what I would like you to do is find a newspaper article from within the past year. So you could look, if it's about a year out, something you can remember in recent memory, you can also use that. But I want it to be somewhat present. Give a quick summary of what this newspaper article is talking about, and then I'd like you to connect at least 2 sources from class. Again, these can be readings, lecture videos, or videos to this newspaper article. What are some similarities that you see? What sort of social movement history does it relate to? And do you see similarities in language used? Or no similarities at all? Has history really changed that much? Is the present that much more advanced than what we're seeing? So again, check your guidelines for the Chicago style. This should be double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Please don't forget to put your name on these as well. And there's a Chicago style link on the web page, as well as it goes back to Purdue OWL. And I really want you to try, usually again, I don't do word limits, but this should be anywhere from 2 to 3 pages, double spaced, Chicago style. So I really want you to consider the long history of this article and how you can relate a lot of what we're learning about and the intersections of different social movement history to the present day. So that's sort of the 3 parts of the midterm exam. That first part is 3 points, the second part is 7 points, and then this last part is 20 points. And so altogether, and again, page length may vary, but this could be anywhere from 3 to 5 pages in total. And again, make sure you just have the parts listed separately so you can label it part 1, part 2, part 3, and send it all as one file along. And there's a place you can upload these on Carmen as well. So feel free to email me with any questions. Sarah and Mason and I will all have office hours this week in which we could meet with you if you have any specific questions about ideas that you have or where you might think about going. So I'll send a message out this week about my office hours, and Mason will do the same and Sarah will do the same. So yeah, hopefully this will be kind of an interesting project. I look forward to reading it. It'll be fun reading for all of us, I think. So yeah, just keep me posted if you have any questions, and I just wanted to take a second to sort of explain the process of thinking of this midterm for you all. So thank you so much, and like I said, email me with any questions.